Bet on Bears fans, another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast coming your way. It's a McKie Friday, ladies and gentlemen, of a Bear Week, baby. We got Minnesota Vikings football this Monday night, and we got to break this game down, J-Mac, because there's a lot of excitement right now on Ben Johnson being here. What's he going to do to Caleb Williams? And me and you were having a conversation ahead of the show. Who's running this football? We got to talk about all that and more on today's episode of the Chicago Bears podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Today's episode is brought to you by the Advantage Dealer Group. Find your next Chevy, Toyota, or Acura. Drive off in under 60 minutes, or they'll make your first car payment. Also brought to you by the Hard Rock Casino in Northern Indiana. Las Vegas style gaming, just 30 minutes from Soldier Field. Exit 6, right off of I-80 94. J-Mac, game week, J-Mac. Not just for the Chicago Bears,
game
day for you, my guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man,
taking on Lake Forest.
The Bears play Monday. We play tonight, so I'm not gonna even say the team's name we're playing. I don't give no credit to no other team. We got a game. We got a game tonight. Real excited about it. Our kids have been working hard. So yeah, it's a good opportunity. Our first road game of the season. So we'll get a test and see what we're made of.
Wait a minute. Is there, I get the high school circles and stuff like that, but we weren't very good at football. We were a basketball school. We getting there. Coach getting us right on the football side. Is there a Lake Forest Carmel Academy beef that's underlying here? We not saying that name. You treating them like that team up north right now.
Not just them. I don't say any opponent's name of that playing. But at the end of the day, you know what? And all joking aside, it's great for your community.
Yeah.
It's great high school football, Friday Night Lights. It doesn't get no better. It's great for the kids. The community comes out. We'll have some Bears personnel be in attendance. They always come out and support high school football. So very appreciative of that. But also I'm just excited to see our kids go out there and perform.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Team right now is 1-0, so you got them off to a good start. Let's hope for 2-0 here on the Chicago Bears podcast. But we do got to talk about this Bears versus Minnesota game here, as the Bears have a very, very tough matchup to start the season off here. Divisional opponent, J-Mac, you played in a lot of these games. And starting off the season with a divisional opponent, even with all the changes that have happened here, what's the mindset going into a game like that? Going into, hey, not only can we get a leg up and start the season off with a win, but we can get a leg up on the division.
Yeah, you got to have it. I know Lovie Smith used to always tell us, a home division game is like 2. So if you win that game, it's like 2 wins because it's so important to take care of home field, especially within the division. So the Bears will get a swift test. Obviously, Minnesota had a great season last year. They're coached very well. Great coordinators, great head coach. Obviously, we know about Coach Flores. Great, innovative, creative defensive mind that's going to do things in an unconventional way. That's going to bring about confusion to this offense. So I'm excited to see that chess match between him and Declan Doyle and Coach Johnson, who will be calling those plays and putting together that game plan for Caleb in this offense. And then I'm also excited to see, it's Dennis Allen defense in live action. I know we're getting a lot of guys back healthy on that defense, especially on the back end. And I'm excited to see this defensive line with the additions that we made with Grady Jarrett, Dale Adingbo finally getting some live action to see if we can improve upon that pass rush. So it's very exciting. It's very exciting for Bears fans to get a great test early, and it's going to be in front of a national audience. If you can't get motivated for Monday Night Football, if you need a coach to give you some magical speech, Pat, turn your helmet in. Don't hand out the jersey because you should be internally motivated in front of the biggest stage in the NFL on Monday Night Football, and I can't wait. I'm not even playing, and I can't wait. I'm excited for tonight, so I'm gonna be excited all weekend.
Bro, you got a great football weekend. You got a great football weekend.
Pat, I got our game today.
Yep.
I got Dayton football tomorrow. I'm going to watch Dayton. Got a home game. And then I get to go, and then we got our alumni dinners, alumni weekend, Sunday night. Get to see a lot of my buddies. And then we got Monday Night Football, Pat. So it's a football weekend for me.
No, you're having a great football weekend. Listen, are you going down to the game? Are you going down to Dayton to see him play?
Yeah. We're me and the wife, we're flying out tomorrow morning, and I think he's going to actually, get his first collegiate action. So we're definitely excited. It's a blessing, man, to be around football and to see, good football all weekend.
What's going to be interesting about this too, and I know different personnel grouping, different players in the building, but J-Mac, Ben Johnson has been incredibly successful versus the Detroit Lions. I believe since he has taken over, he has lost once to the Detroit Lions, and he has won the last 5 matchups going up against Detroit in somewhat dominant fashion. J-Mac, not a single one of those last 5 games did his offense score less than 30 points in that game. That's going to be interesting to see. Does that dynamic carry over to a new team, new personnel, but having the answer to what seems like Brian Flores' defense, right? We saw it pretty consistently. You got to see it last year in the playoff game. I mean, that game was 10-9, I think, kind of in the at the end of the first quarter, and then it was 31-9 by the time you got to the end of that game. It truly is impressive to see how he's had Brian Flores' number. For me, the question comes down to Ben Johnson has all the answers to the test. Is Caleb Williams gonna actually trust that these are the answers and fill in the right bubble on that test?
This is the thing, and you bring up a great point, right? We're talking about this offense, this Bears offense versus a very dynamic Brian Flores-led Vikings defense, right?
Yeah.
So you talk about the answers to the test. He had answers to the test, but it was different personnel actually taking or running the test. You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it is when you look at this Bears personnel, and he knows what he has now through training camp and preseason. That's why you work on the basics, you master the fundamentals, and he didn't show everything that's going to be implemented throughout the season. Obviously, you don't want to give your opponent more tape to study to give them a competitive edge. You don't want to put a lot of things on film. But here's the thing, like, I'm interested to see, I think the biggest thing for the Bears, right, and there's different ways that you can protect Caleb Williams, right? We always talk about pass protection. That's the most obvious way. Also is having a solid run game. I know we're going to talk about that as well. So, from a standpoint of when you're looking at protections, right, there's rules in place for certain protections that you can run. It is a 6-man protection. There's the 5-man protection. Is it a max protection with 7 guys staying in and protecting Caleb Williams? You're going to need all of those things. You're going to need that whole buffet of protections that you've been running, that you've been practicing all offseason, because you don't know where this pressure is going to come from. This defense brings about confusion. It'll bring about confusion for Caleb Williams, who's still a young quarterback. It's going to bring about confusion for that offensive line. But the biggest thing in this game for this offense, I think, is communication, right? Not just Caleb Williams communicating with the entire offense. It's Drew Dahlman at center communicating with Caleb Williams in that entire offense, because Drew Dahlman, you're the quarterback of the offensive line. So if Caleb goes out there, he makes a mic point, which is going to designate who the mic point is and where we're going to in terms of our rules in whatever protection was called in the huddle, right? If he makes the wrong point, Drew Dahlman has to have the wherewithal, but the knowledge to make Caleb right. You see what I'm saying? So that's the biggest chess match that I see, and not just for the O-line and Caleb, it's for the backs. The backs, you got to be sound in terms of your rules and responsibilities. You got to know who you have in protection. You got to know when you're hot. Receivers as well. You got to know when your route breaks off because it's hot, or there's a side adjustment and stuff like that, because of the variety of ways that this defense brings pressure and brings about confusion to quarterbacks. So, I think communication, it has to be the key. And on top of that, we talk about the run game. The run game has to be successful to take pressure off Caleb Williams. The Bears will not win this game if Caleb Williams drops back 30 times. You know what I'm saying? I think the Bears will win if he has to drop back 25 times. I think you have to have, a high volume of carries for these running backs. So whoever's back there, we know Swift's going to be back there. And I know we're going to touch on this, Pat, in terms of running backs, but who else is going to be back there? Kyle Monunga was banged up for the last game. Rashawn Johnson's been banged up. Travis Homer's on IR. Britton Brown's on the practice squad. You may have to bring him up. And I like Britton Brown. He showed well with the opportunities that he had in preseason. But are you just going to have DeAndre Swift and Britton Brown? Is Kyle Monunga going to be available? Because you're going to need to have a high volume of carries for those backs and have an effective run game to take pressure off Caleb Williams and to take some steam off of that blitz that Brian Flores is going to be putting out there on Monday night.
Your roof's got more layers than a conspiracy podcast.
Is that a sandwich wrapper?
Ah, yes. Vintage 1988. It really builds character.
Avondale Roofing. Inspect smarter, dig deeper, and get to the core of your roof's health.
Yeah, listen, you started it off. Let's go there. Let's take a look at the injury report that we have as of right now. Now, we're still working with the Thursday report at the time that we're practicing, or that practicing at the time that we're talking about this. They haven't practiced as of yet, but that Thursday injury report, we got a groin for Josh Blackwell. We got TJ Edwards with a hamstring. He was DNP. Now on Thursday, these were estimations. They did practice on Wednesday. I want to put that out there. So I would assume these estimations are based on what you saw in practice on Wednesday. Roschon Johnson, DNP. The running back room is very concerning right now. Limited for Kyle Monangai and Jalen Johnson. Good to see Jalen getting up to limited after not playing at all, but and we'll talk about that as well. I would assume there's going to be some sort of pitch count there for him. Devin Duvernay and Dominique Robinson, both full goes here. Looking at the running back room, though, J-Mac, I got to ask you, is this a game where, you know, you are looking at your offensive line and saying you just have to create holes that these guys can run through? Because we may not have our best of the best to go out there. We may have to go with your practice squad in Britton Brown. We may have to go with a Kyle Monangai who's been banged up for a few weeks, and we know hamstrings can take a while. Is there more pressure now put on the O-line to say, hey, you have to make sure that these guys have the lanes to run through no matter what?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, looking at that report, I'll go into that a little bit before we dive into your question. Kyle Monangai limited on Thursday. That's encouraging to me because he's still participating. And Thursday is a big work day. You know what I mean? I don't know what situation or what the focus is on Thursday. It may be third down and red zone, whatever the situation. But it's a big work day. Like it's a good work day. The thing that worries me did not participate is TJ Edwards because you missed like that's a serious work day. You know what I'm saying? Like Wednesday's a serious work day as well, but it's a little bit early in the week. But as you get into Thursday's a really, I mean, they're all important, but Thursday's a real important work day. You know, Fridays, we used to call it Fast Friday. You're going through all the scenarios and situations, but you're off the field pretty early. And then obviously Saturday, you're going down to the hotel or you're traveling. So I'm worried about Blackwell. I'm worried about Edwards. I'm a little bit more at ease that I see Monangai was limited in practice, but he did participate. So I would expect him to go, but I think you're going to need, you're going to need DeAndre Swift. You're going to need Kyle Monangai because like you're talking about, Pat, to answer your question, yes, the line's going to have to establish a level of physicality and come off the ball and assert themselves in the run game. And there's going to be times where there's tough yardage to where, hey, you know what? You know what we're running, short yardage, fourth down, third down, or whatever. You know what we're running. We're coming right at you. We got to come off the ball. And a lot of times the running back, you have to be that +1, in which means you have to take care of a guy that's unblocked. You either got to make him miss or run him over for those tough yards. So that's what a great running back is, right? Everybody's not going to be blocked, right? But if the play is blocked for 4 yards, if you're a great or elite running back, we expect you to get 6 or 8. You see what I'm saying? So that's the +1. And DeAndre is going to have to be that guy because, hey, it's all on you now. You're the bell cow. Kyle Monangai's a rookie, but you're the guy, right, who's being counted on to go out there and make plays, not just explosive plays, but to make plays, especially in critical situations, in the passing game. You're going to have to go out there and be leading pass protection because they bring so many different exotic blitzes and pressures. You're also going to have to be solid in the run game. So, my focus in terms of the backfield is obviously going to be at DeAndre Swift, not just how effective he is at making plays, but how effective he is as a pass protector.
Yeah, 100%, because I think that's the one thing we saw, right? They Eric Bieniemy in practice had them working on the drill with the soccer ball to make sure that they're getting the hips wide enough in that pass pro. Yeah, moving the feet. Yep. Like we saw that, and it was such an emphasis. But if you're going out there with a guy like Kyle Monangai, who I give him all the credit in the world, was it the Miami game where he had to get out there and he blocked the edge? He gave him a second. He gave the quarterback a second to throw that football. But he definitely got lifted up off of them feet and got dropped back on his back. But like, he was in the right position. He was making the plays. Do you have the guys out there that you feel comfortable with in the blocking game? Of course, you want the offensive line to win their matchups, but there's going to be times where there's somebody extra sent, especially in a Brian Flores defense. More times than not, you're sending someone extra. It's going to be very key for the tight ends and the running backs to be efficient in that. And not to say that DeAndre Swift isn't, but I don't think that is his biggest strength on this team. I think that I would look that's where a guy like Roschon Johnson being DNP, J-Mac, like at this point, like not to besmirch Roschon or anything, but I swear I've seen him DNP more times than not in his NFL career. And that's one of the things where it's like, yes, this is the thing that we want to rely on you for, but we can't count on you to be on the field.
Yeah, and as a coach, obviously, you care about your players as people, and you're not just looking at them from just a football standpoint. You know what I mean? You care about them as a person. And, I know that's the type of coaches that we have up there at Hallis Hall. In Roshan's case, a guy who's had injuries. When he's out there, he performs well, but the injury bug has hit him. And it's tough. It's frustrating to when, you have a guy who you want to count on, but he's not available. And we say it over and over again, not just me, but coaches in general. Availability is one of the best abilities that you can have in terms of a player. Yep. And it's tough when he's not available, and especially in a game like this to where you're going to need running backs to get those dirty yards. You're going to need running backs to be, physically sound and aggressive and mentally tough enough to realize who they have in protection, right? You're going to need those things from a guy like a Roshan Johnson who's been in this league, a couple of years, who's seen a lot more things than a Kyle Monangai has. So, this is a big task for Kyle Monangai, if he's getting carries. Burton Brown moves up. It's going to be a big task for him because he's another young guy. So, like I said, a lot of it's going to be on DeAndre Swift, but a lot of it will be on Ben Johnson and his offensive coaching staff because we're talking about the running backs, but in general, how are you going to handle pressure? What are your thoughts going into this? Are we going to be more of a 12 personnel team to where we have both tight ends to help, chip on defensive ends or to help with edge pressure so that way our tackles aren't out there on an island? What is our succession plan if we're struggling to pick up pressure? Do we have, I'm sure they have this in, but what is our max protection plan where, yes, we may be getting less receivers out in routes, but we make sure that our quarterback's protected and has a chance to deliver that ball to one of our receivers out there. So it's going to be a lot of, it's a chess match. It's going to be a lot of moving pieces. And you heard Ben Johnson say this in his press conference this week. It's about making in-game adjustments, right? Because there's always something that you haven't practiced that they're going to do that's going to catch you off guard. But the great coaches, they can make that adjustment, right, to help make you right during the game. And if you don't have the mental makeup or the capacity to be able to make changes in game to help you gain a competitive edge and to come out on the winning side of the game, but then you're going to struggle. And obviously, I'm not going to question that with Ben Johnson. He's shown that over and over again. But just because he's had success against the Vikings in the past, different personnel, right? And we know Brian Flores comes up with something different each and every year. You're like, wow, like how did he come up with that? He's like a mad scientist. So it's going to be a great game. I got my popcorn ready. I'm going to be excited to see, how this thing shakes out.
Listen, the offensive line gets a tough test the first game of the season. I mean, you got Jonathan Allen, you got Jonathan Grenard, you got Javon Hargrave, you got some dogs on that other side. I'll be honest with you, the biggest question with the Vikings, and tell me if I'm wrong here, J-Man, is just J.J. McCarthy. It's the only question. I truly think if you had a Sam Darnold or if you had a somebody who's a little bit more established that's been there, or Kirk Cousins, who spent a ton of time here, this would be arguably the top 3 roster in the NFL. Yeah. Like on both sides of the ball. Like you have a really good defensive team that you got on the other side, and you got some mad scientists calling the plays there as well.
Yeah, you look at it in J.J. McCarthy's case, right? It's going to be his first start, his NFL debut, in his hometown, a stadium that he used to go to when he was a kid.
Yeah.
I know with him it's tough because, I'm sure he's just trying to limit the distractions to keep his mind focused on the game plan and the task at hand. But those distractions are going to be there. You got people calling you wanting tickets to the game. People that you grew up with, people in your neighborhood, people that you played with in high school, that's still in the area, people that in the area, the family, friends. Like I don't know how many tickets.
How much of a hit to the pocket is it when you show up at the first hometown game? Like for you, what would have been closer, Miami or Jayville for you?
It would have been Jayville.
So first time you played Jayville, how much of a hit is that?
You have to have that person who's the no person. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have tried to get everybody tickets because I'm just, hey, here you go, I got you. Because you got to focus on your job. So I hope he has that person who's the no person. Like, oh, nope. He's worried about a game because it's going to be tough. And I watched his press conference because I was interested to see, how he was taking this all in. And obviously there's a lot of things you can tell from a press conference. And one key thing that he said that that Coach O'Connell was doing there in Minnesota, right? He told JJ, he said, you know what? He said, have success in the simple. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that is fantastic. Like he said, success in the simple is going to be very important. And what he meant by that is, success in the simple in terms of from an offensive standpoint, from playing quarterback, your NFL debut, right? Take the simple reads, right? Take the check down. The play that we have called is good enough. Go out there and go through your reads, your progression, and make the play. You don't have to do anything special. We're good enough. Success in the simple. Success is that 5-yard check down that can extend the drive. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I thought that was fantastic that Coach was really hammering that home to JJ. But from a Bears standpoint, you got to make him uncomfortable. You got to force him into mistakes. You can't let him sit back there in his jersey not be dirty, because he does have weapons. They're going to lean on Aaron Jones, who had a fantastic year for them last year. You got a bunch of playmakers on the perimeter as well. So the Bears are going to have to get after JJ and make him uncomfortable, so that way he can't have success in the simple. You got to make him complicated when it should be simple. You got to make it extremely complicated for him.
Over under how many times we see this picture on the Monday. That is JJ McCarthy,
man,
2007, going to his first ever Bears game. He got to watch Adrian Peterson run for 224 yards in that game. But D Hest had a receiving touchdown, 81 receiving yards.
Yeah, we played that game. That was Adrian Peterson's. He was a rookie that year.
Yeah, that was the first game for Adrian, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he was in that game. I remember me looking at Adrian Peterson on the sideline and Thomas Jones. We're like, man, like me and Adrian Peterson, like, man, this dude's like the best back in the league already. And it's funny though to see JJ in that picture, and it's like, man, that was 2007. Like I played in that game. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So that's why I brought it up, dog. I'm like
crazy, man.
That's insane. Who's the quarterback in that game? Who was the quarterback
for us?
No, for them, Tarvaris Jackson.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, turn around and hand that football off to AP.
That was some battles too, man.
Hey, Greasy was cooking that game though. 381, 3 tutties.
Yeah, we bought. Did we? No, we lost that game.
Y'all lost the game. Y'all lost the game. 34-31.
It was a tough game, man. Those are some battles. Like Minnesota's always had a really good defense. They had the Williams Wall in there. Those guys were monsters, man. I was like, it was always going to be physical, man. That game, like you were going to come out and you were getting treatment the next day. Like, Ben Lee, they had some physical linebackers. E.J. Henderson, like, man, like they had some guys.
Yeah, those teams were that. I think I remember like just being like, oh, they got him. Oh, they finna be good for a little while. We got. I remember just seeing AP run and just be like, oh God,
yeah,
he's amazing. Like he's everything that he was built to be. Okay, we're doing this.
Good old fashioned NFC North football. So it's pretty cool to see, JJ be from the area, play high school football in the area. COVID hit and then he transferred down to IMG. For people that don't understand that, but he was. Here one of the local stars in high school for a long time, and it's awesome to see him getting an opportunity. It's pretty cool. You see that picture, right, and then you see him. His first NFL debut is at Soldier Field, But also a lot of it just talks about the high school football around here. You look at T.J. Edwards, you look at Cole Kmet from here, that's playing high school ball. So JJ,
Chicago high school ball cooking right now.
It's
dominant right now.
Yeah, it's some really good talent in the state, man. And it's awesome to see like these guys going on to realize their dream. Like you see that picture of JJ and you're like, wow, like this guy's in the NFL right now. He's on the wrong team, but he's in the NFL right now. And I hope it's going to be cool to see him play. I don't want to have no success, go out there.
Hey, listen, I was going to say, hopefully he throws 90 yards and 2 interceptions in that game.
Right. I want him to wish him well, but just not Monday night.
Not that well. Have a good season after tonight. And then when we play you again, bad game. Let's finish it out with this, J-Mac, as we got a new segment we got to add because now you're going to be on Friday consistently. So we'll always get a game update from you on who the opponent ahead for high school. And we got to get new segment. Drum roll, please. The McKees to the game. Jason McKee's to the game, ladies and gentlemen. J-Mac, what are the keys to a Chicago Bears victory over the Minnesota Vikings?
I'm gonna give you the Yurko version, since you got the Yurko version. Football's three things: is blocking, tackling, and catching. That's it. Football's three things. That's it. Ba-boom. No, but yeah, I think, from an offensive standpoint, protection, and communication, right? And being able to establish some type of running game. Because, like I said, yes, there's pressure on Caleb. There's pressure on this entire team. But, Caleb can't drop back 25 times and win this game, in my opinion. You're going to have a solid running game. You're going to have to be sound in protection in terms of being able to protect Caleb, because you know what's coming. You know what actually, you don't know what's coming. You don't know what Brian Flores is going to do. But you got to be ready for it.
Somebody extra.
Somebody's got somebody. It's just happening. So defensively, I think you got to get to JJ. Obviously we were, I don't know our sack totals last year, but it wasn't high enough. And you brought in guys to help get to the quarterback. And with the Dennis Allen defense that's going to play a lot of man coverage, we talk about rush and cover. Well, guess what? That pass rush better be there, because you're in man coverage. It's very hard to cover for a long time. And they got weapons on the perimeter. And I don't care if it's JJ's first start. He's going to be throwing that ball up. Justin Jefferson, they got a talented guy. Aaron Jones will be in the mix coming out of the backfield as well. So linebackers, you better be ready. And
40 sacks last year, J-Mac. 40 sacks in total.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not, yeah. And I don't even know where that ranked in the NFL, but I know
I'm going to say bad.
It's not good enough.
In my mind, I was like, it had to be like almost 60, right? Like, oh my God, yeah. 40 is crazy, dog.
Yeah, and then special teams, I would say Cairo's got to be clutch, because this could be a game that's decided by a field goal. So, clutch Cairo, your guy, Torrey Taylor, be solid in punts, being able to change field position. And going out there and just not giving up a big play in terms of a return, a punt return, a kickoff return, and then Cairo being clutch, making, there's going to be, yes, we want to score. We want to put touchdowns on the boards. But guess what? This is going to be a nasty physical game where, hey, if we got to rely on three, Cairo's got to be clutch and be able to come through.
Yeah, listen. And I'll be honest with you, talking with Richard Hightower up there, it seems like the focus for Cairo at some point this offseason, which makes sense with Ben Johnson coming in, was to get the legs stronger and to be able to kick the ball higher. That's very difficult to do at Soldier Field. But we saw the one that he kicked at home in, was it the Miami game, I think? Either Miami game or what was the first game we played? Miami, Buffalo, Kansas City. It was either Miami or the Buffalo game. And Coach Hightower was like, it probably would have been good from 60. And that's something we're not used to seeing with Cairo Santos. So very, very hopeful that we won't need him a ton. But if we do need him in those long kick moments, that he's able to come through in that moment. Those are Jason McKie's to the game, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Leave your keys to the game in the comments below. As always, man, bed down. One love for Jason McKie. It's your boy, Pat the Designer. Back at it again. J-Mac, I'm tweaking. We finna get out of here. Bears dub?
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. Home opener. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a treat for Bears fans out there. But, I like the Bears in this one.
Yeah, Bears dub. We got 2 Bears dubs here. Bears start the season 1-0, and it's going to be a fun day of football all the way around. Y'all stay safe on the Chicago. Bear down. One love. Peace.